Hi, my name is Melanie Rudkiewicz and I'm from Melrose Heights TV, and I'm here with Mike from the Banana Leaf at the Farmers Market. So Mike, tell me about how long you've had the restaurant for.
We've had it for about 10 years now.
So what kind of food can we expect to find on the menu there?
Well, some of the Singapore dishes would be laksa, rojak, satay, Hainanese chicken rice. There's many others, Indonesian dishes, or beef rendang, or chicken rendang, gado-gado, otak-otak, cendol. I don't know if any of this means anything to you, but I'm sure you guys are going to look it up later on, right? But we're increasing the menu a little bit. We're not going to go crazy, but it's a simple street stall kind of a place, and it's basically it came from the joy that I had going to Singapore and visiting stalls that my parents grew up at.
So what kind of ingredients do you typically work with?
Coconut.
Coconut.
If I could Thai, coconut, Malaysian, Indonesian, that will be some of the bulk of the dishes.
Wow.
Coconut, a lot of coconut, all kinds of spices. Everything from, it's a brain fart now. Normally you can expect to find things like Cuban, I don't want to give out any secret ingredients. There's a lot of rice noodles, a lot of coconut, cumin, lemongrass, bay leaves, or turmeric. Really, the spectrum is amazing, and especially with the Singapore foods.
Fusion of like Singaporean food and like Malaysian, Indonesian, Indian, right?
Exactly. The original Singapore food was more of the Malay style cooking, Peranakan. We have more of the Singapore Indian style, and the predominant style would be the Chinese Singaporean. There's so many different ways and authenticities. However, we decided to go with more of the home that we're used to, and it worked out well. It's the original fusion Asian food. Southeast Asia, you have Indonesia, you have Thailand, you have Malaysia, China, and they all came to Singapore. Brought their food, their spices. It's a long-winded version, by the way. I'm a real local kid. I went to Melrose Avenue Elementary, next to Pink's. I went to Fairfax High on Fairfax and Melrose, and then I went to John Burroughs High in Hancock Park. So it's pretty local.
So talk to me about Fairfax High.
Wow, Fairfax High. All the stars went to Fairfax High. Charlton Heston went to Fairfax High. Chili Peppers, Slash. We grew up with them, these guys. It was a blast. A lot of people never thought there'd be, and they turned out to be quite big stars, but at the time, there was people you hung out with. And I think we grew up used to seeing these people everywhere, so being at school, it wasn't much of a difference. We treated the kids that were stars much worse, because they were, at the time they got the Lacoste shirts and we couldn't afford them. But it was fantastic,
I'm interested to hear more about the Indonesian influence you have. So how did that first start?
Well, we're actually Singaporean, not Indonesian.
No, Indonesian.
That's right, everybody does it. It's more of a popular, but the reality being my parents and my grandparents were born in Singapore and that region.
Okay.
And Indonesia and Malaysia and the rest of it kind of, come with it.
So you spent like a little time, in Indonesia and Singapore when you were young, right?
Been going there for weddings and there, every few years to visit the cousins, and when I was in the early years didn't really appreciate it, but now absolutely, there's no food fair like it in the world. Singapore people, it's fabulous. Singapore is an unusual place. It's not quite what it used to be in my parents' day. It's more of a metropolis now, whereas it used to be a jungle, but Asia is a blast. It's good eating and good beaches.
Any favorite particular countries or regions in the area?
Wow, that's a hard one. If you've been to the region, there's probably several places that you enjoy. It's hard to pinpoint, but I'd have to say it'd be like Koh Phi Island in Thailand, and those islands over there happen to be some of my favorite places to go. You stop in Singapore to eat, and then you go to Thailand and the rest of the places. It's all beautiful. I mean, look, a beach, some mountains, some cheap food, and a beer. It's all beautiful. Wow, that was pretty bad. I never say beautiful. My great grandmother. I went to Singapore. Both my parents were born there. they're each, well, my dad, one of 12 kids, my mom, one of 8. We had large families, and actually I have a lot of cousins in Indonesia that moved to Indonesia, Malaysia. Again, we're obviously not Asian, yes. The food is authentic. Family born and raised there. We were originally Baghdadian Jews, and how they went from where they went to Burma to Calcutta, and the last few generations made it to Singapore.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a fabulous upbringing, and we got a chance to go to an exotic place. You know, we were here with these American kids, and we were brought up, you know, fingers and noodles. You know, it just didn't make any sense. You know, so but it panned out in the end, obviously, and made me my fortune.
So talk to me about that restaurant that you said
it was
by the name.
The Banana Leaf was the first restaurant my uncle would take me to when we'd stop in Singapore, and it was, we were curry eaters. You know, I loved eating since we were kids. You know, if you're at your friend's house or if your aunt was cooking, all the cousins go to the, you know. But anyways, you ate on banana leaves. We never had anything like that here. You ate with your hands, which we never got to do at home. We couldn't figure out why. We were kids, but allowed to do it there. I used to see the monkey jumping in the trees, and I used to eat with big shutter windows. It was just this place I remember as a kid, with great food, and everybody seemed to be so happy.
You're one of the most popular stores in the farmers market.
It's I don't know who the tax man would say that, but yeah, it worked out. It surpassed my expectations. I never thought anything would. My parents always wanted a little shop down the block. We never thought it would be a Singapore shop, but yeah, it worked out well. I think basically it was just when you love something and you enjoy it. Basically, like, they call them hawker centers in Singapore, which is why I picked the farmers market. It's set up like a hawker stall, which is the small stalls, the food units, and the same thing in Singapore and Indonesia, is where you go to eat. So when I saw the place, it was just timing. It opened up, and the farmers market was kind of quiet at the time before the Grove. And it was down the block in the neighborhood, and what the hell? And I broke up with a girlfriend and sold the business, and what was I doing? And 10 years later, yeah, here we are. It's doing very well. We're very happy with the reception it's gotten.
They have dessert on the menu too, right?
We have the chendol and the ice kacang, which is featured on a local show here too on KCT. But they're typical Asian desserts. Two of the more popular ones. The ice kacang is a crushed ice. It's a Singapore or Asian snow cone. But with sweet beans and fruit.
Oh, okay, right. Malaysian.
Yeah, it's a very good, condensed milk, and it's a great dessert. And then there's the chendol, which most people do, which is brown sugar, coconut, a little green tapioca flour worms in there. Fabulous, you know, because again, people have never tried it. So the Indonesians, it reminds them of home, and the Singaporeans and the Americans. It's an adventure because they're sitting with these Indonesians and trying to drink. You might as well be there. I mean, that's the joy of trying out a dessert and food. If you're already there without having to take that trip. I mean, but our desserts are great. They're summer desserts.
How about like sometimes when I'm at the Banana Leaf, I see that you're enjoying yourself a lot more than even if you would be good at.
Well, I'm eating and making money too, and of course I'm enjoying myself. It's a great crowd. You know. I think in Los Angeles, people were also craving a little hospitality. And we're such a family store that I think you know, they really sense it. It's a home away from home. You know, we introduce one person to another, and they come back often because most of my customers are regulars. And then you have a conversation, and they go to food places themselves and have groups and come by, and I get to be turned on to you and different things and different people. You know, it's why I traveled most of my life, and when I was interested in something like that, bringing here, I think it's part of my game.
Okay, so tell us about your special dish that you've got going.
Well, I can't tell you too much, but I mean, do you want to ask anything more about it?
Tell us everything that you can tell us right now.
What I'll tell you is, it's a style dish that is very, very popular in Singapore. Most Americans and travelers that go to Singapore probably only will eat this dish, mainly more than it's a very simple dish that we've been asked for so much. Even though I never really did, I decided that it's time to put it on the menu. It's really silly because it's one of the more popular dishes, especially for the American crowd and the European crowd. However, I did go to Singapore to learn the authentic way to make it. This is a dish that will suit everybody. I've been asked for it so much that I can't imagine this dish not outdoing my other dishes. It's a Chinese dish, a very specifically Chinese Singaporean dish from Hainan. I won't say any more, so a lot of people probably got it there, but I guarantee you it's a first love dish.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a meat eater, this one cannot be made vegetarian or you know, vegan. But
so when are we like expected its release?
Well, you know, that's a good question. And it's like any other art, it's when it's
when it's ready.
when I feel that I've done it right. I really I don't like to pump out my food haphazard. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm a professional chef or but it has to be done right or not done at all. You know, it's a stall. The more food I pump out, the more difficult it gets for employees, and I need to make sure that they. So when I've set up the situation, which is, you know, it's going to be, let's just say, it'll be very similar to something you would have seen in Asia, the way the food is served, this dish specifically, and when the stall is in order and the food, it will probably come in right after that, and we can see that before the end of the summer, absolutely.
Wow. I'd like you to invite the public, the people, to come dine at the Banana Leaf.
Definitely, absolutely. Please come on in. We're open 7 days a week. Except Sundays till 7, open till 9 every other day, 9 to 9.
Thank you, Mike, for joining us
Anytime,
today
it's
on
a
Melrose
pleasure.
Heights TV. So don't forget to drop in at the Banana Leaf, which is at the Farmers Market at the Grove on 3rd and Fairfax.
If you bring Mel, you get 10% off.
And thank you for watching Melrose Heights TV.